And welcome back to Around the Waves on KCOU 88.1 FM Columbia, the student voice of your Missouri Tigers. I'm Luca Vitale alongside me, Ryan Waelterman, and on the call is Ben Schmidt. Let's get rolling here with some Super Bowl coverage. The Cincinnati Bengals have an opportunity this Sunday to bring home the Lombardi Trophy for the first time in franchise history. The Bengals haven't been to the Super Bowl since the 1988 season. In fact, Cincinnati hadn't won a playoff game since the 1990 season, entering this NFL postseason, but it wasn't for a complete lack of attempts, where they made the playoffs 7 times between the 2005 and 2015 NFL seasons, but each time they fell in that wild card round. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Rams are back in the Super Bowl for the first time since 2018, where they fell to Tom Brady, and they look for their second ring in franchise history. All right, I'm going to start with Ben here. Ben, do you think the Cincinnati Bengals will win they'll win their first Super Bowl ever?
I'm going to go with yes on this one. And all signs point to the Bengals losing this game. I mean, not all signs, but there are a lot of signs, especially, I mean, the glaring one is the Rams defensive line versus the Bengals offensive line. Even if you don't even mention the best player in football, in my opinion, defensive player in football, Aaron Donald, even if you don't mention him, you still got Von Miller, you got Leonard Floyd on occasion coming off the edges. And that is enough to get pressure on a very bad Bengals offensive line. It's mediocre at best on the exterior with the tackles, but on the interior, it is really, really bad. So they're going to get roughed up in that category. It's just, I have bet against Joe Burrow all postseason long. I mean, I gave Tennessee a 3-point win over them. That was my prediction. And I didn't even really like Tennessee, but I still thought they would win by 3. And then I had Kansas City winning the AFC Championship. So I have been 0 for 2 on those last couple. And I think at this point, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Joe Burrow just has it in these big moments, and he hasn't even played fantastic yet. The defense has stepped up. Burrow has only thrown 4 touchdowns in this postseason, but it just kind of seems when there's a big throw and you got to have it or a conversion, he has been able to pick it up, and some of that has been with his legs as well. So he is obviously going to be under pressure tomorrow, but I think his mobility is going to give him some ability to get out of the pocket on the run, especially I think he has a big game tomorrow in a dome setting. Not that he was playing in cold, nasty weather all this playoffs, but there's something to be said about playing in indoor SoFi Stadium. The weapons are obviously there. Chase is going to be guarding by Jalen Ramsey. So I really think one of either T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd will have a good game. We'll get to that later, but it makes too much sense for me to pick the Rams. I mean, they have the weapons on offense. They have the defense to shut down the Bengals. And I will say, if the Rams sack Joe Burrow anywhere near the amount of times that he got sacked against Tennessee, Bengals won't win this football game. But I think Joe Burrow is going to come out and play a really solid football game. I would not be shocked if Joe Burrow throws for 300+ yards and a couple touchdowns. And in my mind, I can't see this game ending any other way than with an Evan McPherson game-winning field goal. It just makes sense in my head.
That is pretty fitting. I'm not going to lie to you. I actually have the Bengals winning this game. And let me tell you why. We have this narrative that it's just Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase being the nucleus of propelling the Bengals throughout the entire postseason. I'm afraid that's a little misleading. I'm going to say it's the defense that has been playing really well. The last time I checked, who was down 21 points in the first half? That would be the Cincinnati Bengals. And how did the Cincinnati Bengals win that game? Oh, I don't know, because they limited the Chiefs to 3 points throughout the entire second half and overtime, where the Chiefs got the ball to start with. They won that coin toss. So I'm not going to lie to you. The defense has been phenomenal. I mean, you got Von Bell. You got Trey Hendrickson, who's getting to the quarterback. You got B.J. Hill also getting the quarterback and intercepting passes. You also got Sam Hubbard and Logan Wilson wreaking havoc. So in my opinion, and I'm not going to forget Jesse Bates. That dude has been phenomenal throughout this entire postseason. But when you know the offensive line is a mess, unquestionably their weakest element to when they bring to the table. I mean, Joe Burrow was sacked 55 times this season. Let's not get ridiculous here. But at the same time, what I believe with the Cincinnati Bengals, how they're going to attack this game, is they're going to do what they did against the Las Vegas Raiders. They're going to do those little mini passes and basically force the receivers to get the yards after the catch. That is what I believe they're going to do to avoid the amount of sacks for Joe Burrow to take. I think they'll attack the secondary at points in the game. Obviously, you got Jamar Chase and Jalen Ramsey. We'll see how that goes. But in my opinion, when you talk about the Bengals and compared to the Los Angeles Rams defense, obviously there's a big advantage. But at the same time, if you can get the ball out of your hands and getting it to a receiver on a slant, whether that's T. Higgins, whether that's Boyd, whether that's Jamar Chase or others, I believe if you're able to get it out of your hands fast enough and provide enough protection, you'll be able to get enough yards after the catch if you could establish the running game with Joe Mixon, which I believe they can. But at the end of the day, if Jamar Chase can win battles against Jalen Ramsey in the slot or downfield, they have a really good chance of winning this game. And the last thing I will say, remember what the Bengals did against the Chiefs. They made them one-dimensional. They took that pass away from Patrick Mahomes throughout that entire second half. The dude was balling in the first half. They were blowing the doors off that defense. But the second half, they made in-game adjustments. That's not easy to do against Patrick Mahomes and the crew. But if they can make Matthew Stafford one-dimensional and make them beat them with the run, because I'm not going to say Cincinnati's bad defending against the run, because they're actually pretty good. But if they can make them one-dimensional, I think Cincy's got this.
Bingo, Luca. You hit it right there. It's the defense for me, for the Bengals as well. And let me just reiterate and let me have my praise from 2 weeks ago when I predicted the Bengals to knock off the Chiefs by, one, having a huge defensive play, which happened in overtime for me. And then I said it was going to be the Joe Mixon game, which I believe he had 75 yards, which is the longest he's had in the playoffs this year. And then I put the cherry on the top by saying Evan McPherson's going to kick him into the Super Bowl. And I was spot on with all three of my predictions. I'm very happy for that.
We're happy.
And you know what? I'm just going to shoot out another prediction, and it's going to be the same one as last time. I think their defense is going to win this game again. I think their defense is going to have a huge play, whether that's, I don't know, Jesse Bates. One guy that I'm really looking at for, I think is going to have a great game is Logan Wilson. I think he's one of the backbones of the defensive line, sorry. And I think he's going to be able to get to Stafford quick. And you know what, Rams fans? I'm sorry, but you're still going to have yet to win a Super Bowl in LA, because the last time you did it, you were based in St. Louis. So Stafford, although, you're a heck of a player and everyone loves you, you're not going to get your ring, because Joe Burrow and the Bengals are here, and they're here to stay. And obviously, they made a statement against the Chiefs. Obviously, Joe got sacked 9 times, and in that next game against the Chiefs, they showed up. And I think maybe they only the Chiefs only had like 1 or 2 sacks against him, but that defensive line showed up. And I think if they show up, which I believe they will, in this Super Bowl, and the whole entire freaking city of Cincinnati is probably going to be at this game, I think they're going to bring home their first ever Super Bowl.
Interesting. All right, we're going to move. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say real quick about the Rams here. I think with the Rams, looking at their point of view, because I like the Bengals defense, but I'm not as high on it. I think if the Rams could win this game in multiple ways. I think they could win by 3 touchdowns, or I think they could win a shootout. The Bengals, I kind of think that the Bengals would have to win this one like a 31-28 or even higher scoring than that. I think Cooper Kupp is going to get his 100 yards like usual. And I truly do think Matthew Stafford will have a really nice game. I think if they lose this, it won't be on Stafford. But just with me, I think the Bengals offense will have their best game of the postseason. Not that it's been bad, but like I said, Burrow only has 4 touchdowns so far, and the running game has been it's been fine. But I think from the Rams' point of view, I don't think their offense is going to be the problem. If they lose this game, I think it's just because they get outscored. But I expect both Kupp and even Odell. I could see Odell having close to 100 as well. So I think best case scenario for me as a fan is if this turns into an offensive shootout, and I think there's a very real possibility that it does.